Welcome into the dungeon. I like to play school. We're all young at heart. We all like a little bit of color. It's good for the kids. And you know it's only numbers? It can't hurt, can it? 7286, which is my number. Half is 36 and half of that is 18. Half of that is 9, but we don't have to see the 9 because we see it here, here, and here. The small and the high equals to 90. The center is 45. The small half value and the center equals to 64 and a half. 645 equals to 456, the federation, the center of all numbers. What did I do? I just showed you exactly what has to happen, where everything ends up. This ends up at 4, 5, and 6. Then ends up at 45. 9 times 5 is 45, explaining it ends up around 1, because 1 is the center to the total of the 8 that go around. 8 times 45 is 320, and 5 is 360. Not counting the own area space for something to go around. We need one area space for something to go around, but we don't need this. We need only this that turns around. We get a square that turns in a circle, because if we do not, then we must get a double square. Because when you put a bar and you groove a hole into it, because if you put two circle screws into each other, or gears, if you put two gears into each other, they will just turn inside of each other. Unless you tighten it together and compress it so tight, regardless, you must square it to hold it. A squeeze is not good enough. Because a squeeze is, if these two materials are the same, what are you squeezing? You're squeezing now two sides. You are automatically squaring it off, giving it distance and height. The diameter of one area space, we would need 3 of these. We would need a set here, and then we need a set here. Anyways, this is not what we're setting at right now. I'm working with 43. 4334 equals to the size of the moon. This will equal then to the diameter of 2 moons. One side of the moon, the other side of the moon. 43, 43, right? 86, doubled, half and half, 0.5, 0.5, 5 and 2 Earth is 7. 101, the distance between one side and the other. 101, Neptune to Saturn. Above and below, 1 down and 1 over. 101, right? Because you pass in the corner. Saturn is 6, Neptune is 8. We go 6, 9, 8. 1, 0, 1. 6 to 9 is a movement of 3. So we can move 6 into 5 and 5 down to 8. Minus 1 plus 3. 1 and 3. Here we go 3 and 1. 44 regardless of which way we go. It's 4 and 4. 4 by 4 is everything. Why? Because 4, 1, 4, which is the area space of 5, this takes up the whole area space. It's like coming out here, it's going all the way down, and this turns all the way around, right? Or just put it up in the sky. This is the way it all cuts, right? 1 here, 1 above, 1 below. There's 1 here, 1 above, 1 below. There's 1 here, 1 above, 1 below. No 2 by 2 here. 2 by 2 when they're aside, this is above, this is below. Below on this bottom half is this half, and then this top half is this half. This top and this half get this bottom. These two eyes over here get this nose over here. How about the fish that comes in between the eyes, showing 2 sides? The fish tail, the reason they call the fish tail is because of this. These designs, the cube, if I take the cube and I stand it up, and I stand up the cube, forget about the top. This is the bottom, this is the top. You see the 2 eyes and the 2 feet? I stood up the cube. Here's now the new eyes. See this B creating a W, your Warner Brothers stand for M. Here's your mountains. Here is the lake of 2 mountains, because this mountain and this mountain, when we fill this up halfway with water, this part over here gets filled between the 2 mountains. Now these 2 eyes become 1 sea. And these are the eyes that see for the feet that stand upon, holding the cube up on this angle. 1. Here's the second one next to it, but then the other one is all the way over here. 3 and 6, 3 and 4. Look how far across 3 and 4 are, right? This is number 2 over here, by the way. And this is number 4. This is number 6. Look how close 2 and 6 come together. Very, very close, 4 apart. Look how far apart 3 and 4 are. So 3 and 4 seem to be a greater distance than 3 and 6. 3 and 6 is 9 and 7. This is number 2, and this is number 1. 1279. We know why 1279, right? Because how can I explain 1279? 1 has 8 white faces. 1 has 8 white faces. 2 has 7 white faces. 1 and 8 equals 9. 2 and 7 equals 9. 1, 2, 7, 9. Why? Because we begin on 7, the gateway of 313. 313 is 7. 3 times 3 is 9. 1, 2, 7, 9. 313 is inside 7. 3 and 3 is 6. We don't need 6. We don't need 8 because 6 is the other side of 8. 7 is the 313 in between the two sides of 6 and 8. If it was to the left side, it's 7. If it's to the right side, it's 7. When you join the two, you call it 8 because 7 and 7 played together. 7th and 8th place are 1. Because you actually, what you do is you go from 6 and you go all the way to 9 because 6 owns 7 and 8 as 2, 3, 4 and 6, 7, 8 make 10, 10, 10. 6, 7, and 8. 8 and 7 is 15. 8 and 6 is 14. 14, 15, the beginning of pi. 3.1, 4, 14, 1, 5. Well, I'm not going to get into 1, 5 because I can't find it here right now because your 1, 5 is inside here. How do we create the 8? Here's 1 here, and here's 1 here, and here's 1 here, and here's 1 here. That's 4. And then here's 1 here. Oh, we're going to do it with a different color. Here, 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 and here. So we got 4 here and 4 here. 2 different cubes, right? Well, what about the cube I just created in between by creating the outside of the empty space? All I needed is a little bit of rope, right? And then all of a sudden, what was a small home is now Jacob's ladder. 2 space, throw the cord. 2 space, throw the cord. And you can turn it this way. 1, 2, 3 on this side, and then 1, 2, 3 on this side. 1, 2, 3 on this side. 1, 2, 3 on this side. We shift them. We shift these cubes over to make it even bigger. That's why we zigzag. We shift them. We make them stronger. And we go 1, 2, 3 on this one, and then this one starts here, 1, 2, 3. So the actual shift will go from here to here. And that creates your Z and your N. It says Oz on top of it. Well, you can slip in your hot dog or your hamburger. These numbers are here. 1 and 8, in between 1 and 8 and 3 and 6. 2 is below, 7 is above. 2 is above, 7 is below. 2 and 7. 1, 2, 7, 9. Why don't we need this? Because in 1 and 2 is 3. And when you have 3, there's only 6. So we don't need to know 6. We just need to know 9 because when there is 1, there is 6 on the polar. When there is 6, we know there are 3 empty spaces or 3 full spaces. 1 and 2 comes together. 1 and 2 comes together. And they look as 3. 3 needs 7. 7 is 2 sides. 3, 1, and 3. 7 and 2 is 9. 7 and 1 is 8. But 2 is all of 8. 4 times 2 is 8. And inside of 9 is 414. 9, 414. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus the 1 equals to the 9. 313 equals to the 7. I do not need the 3. The 3 is inside the 1 and 2. Since I have 1 and 2, I do not need the combination of 3. Since I have the 3 over here, I do not need the 6 because six white ghosts, 3 white ghosts and 6 markings, and 3 and 3 white ghosts and 3 markings. 6 ghosts and 3 markings and 6 markings with 3 ghosts. 6 and 3 are not needed, and 6 and 3 comply in the 9. 3 complies in the 7 because the 7 is because of the division of 3, 1, and 3. That's how these numbers play. Give me a situation, I'll put these numbers to play, and you will see I will not have the answer. You will see the answer come from this cube or this cube or this cube. In games people play. And you know what this is over here? When this is sitting any way you want on a table, because once you have 3 dice, you automatically have this. It's automatic. You cannot have 3 dice like this. It's all the space is going the same way and across. You're going like this, my friend. Okay? This is your H2O. And you put these things all the way around. And you have no choice. When you have 3 letters or you have 5 letters, and I don't care if you have a letter or you have these dice, these are obligations. You cannot live the world if you cannot move in the star system. So you set up your own star system through the laws of physics. And what is the law of physics? Well, when you go to Monopoly, right? When you go to Monopoly and you throw 3 doubles in a row, right? They send you to jail. So therefore, one of the rules that I follow is the rule of games. What happens? What am I allowed to do? What am I not allowed to do through what games people play? We have the in-between 2, 4, 6, 8 sitting square. Since we can sit them square, the diameters are right here. You see the greatest diameter between Venus and Saturn, between Mars and Venus? 5, 5, 6. Let's make it 5, 5, 5, because this would be Mercury over here. You see the angle it's sitting on? A corner dice is sitting on an angle because it's infiltrating. It's coming in, going through 6 and down to 3, over through 6 and into 5. And that back up. And this corner is alive. The difference between all these corners, 5, is this is the one corner, which is now replayed in this corner. You see, when you have a 3-leaf clover, right, one of these corners has to move, right? This owns this dice, this dice, this dice, and this dice. 4 dice, 1, 2, 3, 4 dice, and 1 to the center. One has to move. Why did one have to move? Here's your cross, right? When you have your cross, you have 4 and 1. Here you have 3 the same. Here you have 3 the same. Here you have 2 and 1 the same. Here you have 2 and 1 the same. This is your 2, 4, 6, 8 angle. Angle of 20, angle of 20, angle of 20, angle of 20, 420. The way the mind works, You see the design inside of here? The anvil or the dog horn. Do you see that design straight down in there? Let me get a picture of that. I got a picture. I'd like to design that. I wish I had a little spray can. I wish I can change these numbers around. And by the way, I only switched one number on here. I didn't set these dice up at all. 6 is across from 4. 6 is across from 6, 17, 1, and 8. The highway in between. Reality sets in that we will remove 1. I will have the 4-leaf clover inside of this. I'd rather put this inside. This is the stand that it sits on. This is my 4-leaf clover because here was 1. This is what's ruling. And it switches into 5, which now 5 is ruling 9. 5 Jupiter rules Pluto. Pluto is born inside of Saturn. Saturn is a creation from the skies of Earth and the skies of Jupiter, the electronic world, which is Earth and Jupiter and Venus. Earth 3 and 2 equal 5 Jupiter, in which Mars 4 and Mercury 4 and 1, which is now part of Jupiter, and 1 is in the center to 4, but there's no longer 4 corners. Their 4 corners have disappeared. Now it's here, 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 and here. This space over here is supposed to be empty. It's an empty space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there are 8. It is an empty space. Just let me do this again. Everything cuts corners in here. Okay, that's an empty space. What happens is this one comes out of here and it goes into the center. So instead of having 4 corners, we now put that one in the center there. And we go 1, 2, 3, and a leap year. 1, 2, 3, and a leap year. Or we do this. We take this one and we move it here. And then we go 1, 2, 3, and a leap year. And then we go start over here. So we take this one, right? And we move it all the way over here. And then we go 1, 2, 1, 2. See, we go every second one. We take out this one, we take out this one, right? So we actually, this is the one ruling over here. Now it's like this. He goes 1, 2, 3, and a leap year. 1, 2, 3, and a leap year. But instead of doing it that way, they move this back. They go 1, 2, 3, and a leap year. So now I started here, right? 1, 2, 3, and a leap year, right? Now I take this one and I move it back here and I go 1, 2, 3, and a leap year. So instead of taking this one, now I put this one back, this one over here. Now I go 1, 2, 3, and a leap year. And now this one that we started with will go over here. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3, and a leap year. And then this one we started with will go over here. And then we'll go 1, 2, 3, and a leap year. And this one we started with we'll put over here. And now we have our club, the way our club turns around. Every time you get a leap year, one goes back. One goes back, one goes back. 6, 6, 6, 18, and then 24. 6, 6, 6, 18, 24. Then after that happens, right, this one goes over here, and this whole thing makes one complete rotation for that day. It falls back 6 times, 6 hours, and then this whole thing makes a rotation. But what is it making a rotation of? It's making the rotation of 2, 6, 5, 1. 2, 6, 5, 1. 5 and 2 is 7. 1 is missing 8. 2 is missing 7. 1 is missing 8. 1279. See this over here? What happens is this one over here at the end will make another turn. The center gets its turn all the time, right? The center is always turning. As the center is turning, this turns once and then moves back. And this turns once and then moves back. And this turns once and then moves back. And this turns once and then moves back. It takes 4 times before one can go around. 4 times. But it has to do it this way and it has to do it this way, which is a total of 8. 50 times 8 is 400. So every 400 years, you no longer need to do it. It has redone its cycle by turning around 14 on the side, which equals to 56, multiple by 4, or 4 by 7 is 28. 28 is the cycle of the moon. 7 times 4. 4 is in the middle of 7. 3, 1, 3, in which the 4th game, or the 4th ball, puts you on base. And 4 is the totality around 1. 1 owns 8, but 8 is inside of 4, 360 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees between 4 corners, 180 between 2 sides evenly connected, where 1 is divided up and becomes a C circle before it is reconnected. Slice out the 2 and 4. If I slice out this 2 and 4 over here, just slice it out. Keep it in the center, okay? Or slice it right in the center, over here. Separate these 2 cubes apart. I'm going to do it over here. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to take the dice, and I'm going to split this in half. So it's going to go like this, and then it's going to do this, and then it's going to do this. So if I want to reconnect it, I'm going to have to do this and build this onto it, right? And then add the other half of my dice to it. And now I would be building my dice cube together as the 2 dice. Building of the dog bone, of the doghouse. The doghouse, because we split half of this world and half of this world, meaning that if my thing is right, they have made this Nintendo-like world a reflection of a world that already existed. They needed to split it and splice it exactly together, living one world, okay, inside a computer system, and the other one living in a controlled body, well, or mostly controlled as best possible. Okay, because of the split system, because they needed the both sides of the both world. They needed the electric world of the body to compose of with the spirit, with the incoming of knowledge. Let's put it that way. 512. 512. 5 equals 9. 2 is part of 7. 5 is part of 1. 9 and 1 come together as 10. 5 and 5 come together as 10, but 1 and 9 is the greatest distance. So now you have 1 and 9. And once you have 1 and 9, the next one to 1 and 9 is 2 and 7, not 2 and 8, because 4 and 4, 8 and 1 is what makes up 9. 7 is the next number. 7, 8, 9. So we put together the dog bone and call this Venus. Let's go Mercury over to Pluto, Mercury to Jupiter, Jupiter to Pluto, Jupiter to Saturn, Jupiter to Neptune, Jupiter to Mars, Jupiter to Uranus, Jupiter to Mercury, Jupiter to Earth, the T junction inside low shoe numbers. So we understand how this works now? Do you see this diamond over here? What I did is I took the square, just a regular square, and I need to understand what I can and cannot do to the square. So the first thing I did is I extended the lines of the top part of the square. Here, that's all I did. I got a square and I extended the lines. That's all there is. Okay. Then over here, I went out halfway, right? Halfway and halfway, extending the line, showing my greatest distance, halfway and halfway, above and below. So I went out one line, I came in one line, and I came in for my corners, right? So over here, right, I made a stand. So on the stand, I need one area space to come in to conform for size. See the size? It's all the same size. It's just a formation. 7 and 3. 7 and 3. 21, 10, 31, Nibiru. All talking about the wings of Nibiru is because the nut is inside over here. What is this part over here? That's the hat. I always put that top and the bottom to everything. Top and the bottom to everything. Here is a V. You see the V? And the V letter stands for 5, but it's the 22nd letter, equaling to 4 and 8, standing for space. See the way these two keep this in? You see the stand or the shoes? It needs the shoes to balance the cube. But for, what's it called, balance? See this balance over here that touches the bottom? This moves out and this moves out. So if this tilts over this amount, because this is lower than the halfway point, it's at the bottom of the ocean, so this can tilt, and this is what keeps it straight. This you can also say that it's the B. I can put another B in the, I can put this on this side here, and we can be B and B, or B-O-B, Bob. And I can make a whole lot more designs. Depending on which way, these can be the army stripes going towards each other. Don't forget, this is one-dimensional. If you want this to look different or better, right, for your own self, take another one of these, do this and flip it over and put this backwards. Mirror this and put it here. Take this part and put it here, or flip it around and put its own face against each other. You know what I'm saying, right? You just have to just keep doing the same thing like this over and over again. And you see this? This is almost like somebody's pants. The thing is, with a square or whatever you do, right, follow the lines. If you want to follow the lines of justice, you follow these lines here. Okay, if you want to follow the cross lines between two sides, you mark these lines here. But if you want to do the same thing, lines of justice, you'll evenly split things this way. Lines of justice, splitting things this way. This is the center of lines of justice. The V, where it shows two sides. And this has nothing to do with me, whatever is going on right now. This is what I learned to do while using these cubes. How the separate space. Every molecule in here needs its separate space. Where do I get the separate space? When you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you go to machine and put in one of these numbers. The minute you put in one of these numbers, well, here they are. All of these numbers are right over here. The minute you try to build this cube using any one of these numbers, using location, size, and weight, you are building this building of truth. There will be holes in this building. Based on what you build, this building will now create in its numbers, holes and spaces, designs, understanding that it will build a complete building. It'll be black. You won't be able to see it unless you're able to make certain separations, like 3 and 6. They have 9 white, 5 face. You see it? 5 face. But they have 8 and 5 white, the silver matrix. Here, they have 9 face and 3 and 6 white. Creation of 6. 9. 9 times 6 is 54. 9 times 3, 81. Venus. This is also equal to this. This and this are the same. How is that possible? 6 and 2 are 8. 3 and 1 are 4. 1 and 2 is half of 3 and 6. 2 times 3, 1 times 6. 3 and 2, 5. 6 and 1, 7. It's how things are built according to numbers. When you cross over, do you cross over from walking in a straight angle on the top of this cube? Do you cross down, telling me the 3 sides, 2 over, 2 down, equaling to 9? Or is this your angle over here? The angle of the house, of the center house, to the left and the right of the core. 2 and 8, running the cycle. 1, 2, 3. You start from above. This starts from the middle. So when this starts from the middle, this number will not be. This number will be 5. This number will be 8. This number will be 2. Why? Because this, although is the middle, this cube being on this angle, we need to create this. These two create itself. You see these two? They create the 8 on this angle, and they create the 8 on this angle. See this angle here? Sorry, this angle here or this angle here creates the 8. When I put it on this angle here, that is the trophy angle. I cut out this part over here. I sit this. This is the trophy angle. Do you see the other angle, the way they sit? They have to sit that way because we have to see them all the way around. The greatest diameter between 2 sides. If we're going to pass something in the center, we're not going to turn this. If I turn this and move everything in, look at that. Look how small it is. So I turn it for the greatest angle, right? And now everything is wider apart. Look how wide it is now. And now you got all those, you see the, hold on a second. You see the piece over here, the piece over here. You see the way they're all open? They'll automatically be open. There's automatic, you'll see the Y corner and the Y corner, open trophy fish, or whichever way you want. We need to take it. We, me, you, who. We need to take it and expand it, make it bigger, put more dice down, redesign the inside to understand what this shape is actually trying to tell us. Will it be a word? Will it be a letter? Will it be a letter? Will it be a number? How we will create the word in the story. Don't forget, we have to unscramble it. We're doing it all the time. 6 is 3, 4 is 5, 2 is 7, 375, 357, 365. This is all we need. 4 and 5 on the cube, 3 and 6, 365 days, 0.47. What is 7? All we have is 7 right over here. 4 and 3 is the 7. 5 and 2 is the 7. We capture it right over here. 5 and 3, 8. Captures what 7 and 7 is. 6 and 7 is 13. 1 and 3 is 4. Captures over here. So we've captured all these worlds. And here we do not need 2, 7. We do not need 1, 8. Because 3 eats 1 when 6 and 8 meet at 101. And 4 meets 5 when 1 and 4 is in 5. 1 is inside of 3. 6 and 8 are reverse worlds. It's 6 and 6 actually, right? 6 and 6, 6 this way and 6 that way, and all 8 connected together. But when 8 connect together, this is what happens. When 8 connect together, it's like this. They connect 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here they connect all 8 with the 0 in the center. But this side hooks up 1, 2, 3. This side hooks up 1, 2, 3. This one hooks up to here. This one hooks up to here. These 3 hook up together. This is the dice cube. The 6 this way, the 6 this way, or the 6 this way. The 2 ways of the 6. Could be something to do with the heart. See the way these two, alpha, omega, are around the center? So what will happen to this? We will have to put this to connect here, as so. And then we would connect it further on the outside of the ring. See the club, the way the club is now forming? But it's not only the club or the nickel, it's also the Star of David that begins to form of how we need to connect up our 6. It's 1 center for 3 to the left, 3 to the right. But the 1 center owns this whole level. Even if it comes down this way, right? This 1 center owns this whole level. It's 1, 1, 1. These are all equal. It's 1 in between 1 left and 1 right. 3 and 3 is 6. 3 and 3 is 6. 6 and 6 is 12. With 2 above and 1 in the middle is 3. And 2 in the side and 1 in the middle is 3. And 2 in the side and 1 in the middle is 3. 3, 6, 9, 21. Depends how you want to call the white ghost. If you actually take a look inside of here, around here, it creates the letter I and the letter X and the letter C's, depending how you want to split this apart. Color these in. Color these shapes in. Put 2 all over the place like this. But don't remember, we bored the hole. This bore actually says this is a square that comes in with a hole. Or this whole thing was 1 flat. We put a hole here and a hole here. This is the area space that is balanced. Raphael 7286 in a constellation of Pegasus, going somewhere with nowhere in black and white. Learning to read the numbers. Ace, definition. H, fetch, 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 D. D, fetch, defetch, defect, defect. Ace, defect. The hole has got a defect in it. Why does the hole have a defect in it? Anyways, that's what I just saw. 7 and 3, 7 and 4, 7 and 5, 7 and 6, 7 and 1. It's all 7 and 2. Yes, it all starts at 2 and 7 right over here. 2 times 5, 2 plus 5 is 7 and 10, 17, 18, 19. 3 times 17 is 51. Mars. Mars equals 51, 6 and 8. Mars equals 51, 6 and 8. Mars equals 6 and 2, related to Venus, 6 and 2. Earth, Venus. Earth, Earth, related to 44, Mars. Number 8 totals. You know why this is a tie and it works? This is Mars, but guess what? 44 is double Mars, and that's Neptune. 2 4s is Neptune. 2 6s is 12. 1 and 2 is 3. 2 6s gets you Earth. 2 4s gets you Neptune. Neptune from 4, Earth from 3, 3 and 8. Bring them together, we get the church in the blue heaven. Do I believe it? I see it in the numbers, and it's very strong for me. Raphael 7286 in a constellation of Pegasus. 3 and 8 come together. The C letter, the H letter, 3 and 8. At the same time, it's H. It says cache, which means to hide. It also could be something to do with the CB cache. 3 and 8, CH, CH. 3 is the 21st letter, the letter U, inside of church. H comes from the T letter, T20. 0 equals 6 equals to 8. Now you have connected the 2 sides, top left, bottom right, equaling to the top 9, and your Z. Connecting the corners, which is the N, 1 and 4, connecting 5. The 1 plays inside the 9 position and is operated through Jupiter. The highest number is not 6. The highest number is more like 3. because 2 and 1 come together. But the highest number is actually 1 if you really want to look at it. It has 8 white ghosts. But we don't want to count this because the in-between is a half-life. It's a separated life between two sides. It's side left, side right, and the center. So there's only the in-between and above and below. The difference is 1. If you're in the middle, the difference is only 1. The understanding of the difference. There are 7 ghosts, but on the outside, on the other side, there's 8 and 7, 15 goats, 8 and 7, 8 and 7, G and H, but a good combination, 15. Mars. Mars comes in with 1 and 2. Is it 1 that interferes? It was supposed to be 808 bicycle cards. Do you understand? 808 bicycle cards. 28, the cycle of the moon. Instead of 1 to 9, right? We weren't going to go 1 to 9. It was going to be 2 all the way to 8. We didn't need the 1 in between. It was 2, right? You would put 1 in the corner here, 5 here, and 9 here. But the cross corner is 3, 5, 7. So if we just take away the 5 and go 1 to 9, we have 8. The bicycles or cards are showing us 8. 8 and 2 is 10. But there are 7 in between. Here's the way it goes, okay? Number 1 to number 9 is a total of 8. 8 plus 1 equals 9, and there's 8 spaces. The angle of your numbers key shows you 1 to 9. There's a total of 9 numbers with 8 adding up to 1 or 8 minusing from the 9, which 9 can become 17, 1 and 7. 8 and 9 is 17, 1 and 7. 7 comes inside of 2, 17, 29. The opposite of this is 5, but only 4 empty spaces. The opposite of this is 6, with only 3 empty spaces. 3 and 4 is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4 equals 10. 5 and 6 is 11. 11 and 3 is the connecting to Nibiru. 4 empty spaces and 3 empty spaces. 4 corners and 4 corners are full. 2 in the center are different, and 1 in the center is different. The difference is in between this one and this one, there's a 1 difference here, and there's 2. This one has a difference of 2 to this one, and this one has a difference of 1. But this one doesn't have those 2, and that one doesn't have these 1. See that? See the 2? It's not that 2. It's the 2 inside the 6 that is different from 5. There's 3 extra players between these two. 6 and 11 plus the 3 extra players, that if you overlay them within each other, this dice and this dice will become perfect, right? You'll get 5 plus these 2 will be 7. This 6 and the 1 that's missing is here will be 7 here. These two make a great exchange. No other dice can make that exchange. Even if I did it this way, it gets these 2 on the side. So 6 can roll with 5 2 different ways. So there's a difference of 3. 11 and 3 is 14. So 6 and 5 in its own creates 14. 11 and 14. 11 is 1 and 1 is 2. 14 is 5. 5 and 2 is Earth. Earthman. This is a half-life. These 2 in the center are half-lives. This is only 4. This is a half-life. You're either joining this life with it over here from above or below. This is a half-life. That's all it is. It connects to here. This is a 4. This is a 4 and 2. This is a 4 and 1. This is a 1 and 2 that connects in 3. Split of the diameter. 404. 1 plus 8. 7 is in between. 179. 1279. Because it counts for the Holy Ghosts of 8 and 7 on these 2. We don't need the 8 because it takes 1 to 9 to get the 8. 1 and 8 is the 9. Dice talk. Raphael, 7286 in a constellation of Pegasus. Inside the house. It's raining out today, but the sun is still out in the sky. So I just like to just, I just like what I did, and it just makes me feel good to show off some of the same pictures over and over. But I like it anyways because every time I look at it, I just feel great. Raphael, 7286 in a constellation of Pegasus. In the year 5776, 5775 ending, 5776 ending, we're actually starting 5777, the year of Egypt. Thank you. Get to the point. Egypt, Pluto, Jupiter. Egypt, Pluto, Jupiter, 2016, 34, 43, 34, 44, 43, 33, 68, 168, 72, 186. Now, what in the world am I talking about? I'm going to cut this out. Ciao.